The MMA community is reacting strongly to the proposed Khabib rule change, and the responses have been quick, loud, and very divided. Some fans immediately supported the idea, seeing it as a way to bring the sport closer to its pure roots. Cub Swanson simply said, "I agree," keeping it short but clear. Another member went even further, saying, "Fire Dana and let Khabib take over. Khabib is speaking facts. I wish a promotion would actually do this. It would alter the fight game tremendously. Supporters believe it would create a more authentic contest where endurance and dominance matter most, removing the constant stop-and-go pace created by rounds." But of course, not everyone is in favor. Many believe this would completely ruin the UFC. Their reasoning is that fighters like Khabib would simply take someone down in the first minute, control them on the ground, and hold them there for a full 15 minutes straight. And let's be honest, most casual fans don't enjoy watching that regardless of its effectiveness. One comment summed it up perfectly. "Sports-wise, yes, but entertainment-wise, it would be boring. They need time to recover between rounds." Another fan added sarcasm, saying, "Oh great, 15 minutes of uninterrupted hugging. Exactly what we all want to see." Others, however, tried to play devil's advocate. They pointed out that this format could actually work well if fighters went for finishes every time, but they warned that if the fight goes all the way to the judges' scorecards, it would be very difficult to judge a fight like this with so many swings and momentum. Another important factor that came up was the value of the corner work between rounds. Fans said they love hearing the coaches giving deep technical advice, motivating fighters, and making crucial adjustments. Fighters often come out of their corners completely recharged, more focused, and more dangerous after those breaks. Removing rounds would take away that key element of strategy and story. One fan even reminded everyone that this type of format was tried before in some older organizations, and the result was awful to watch. Fighters would get completely gassed out, lose their explosiveness, and then nothing would happen for long stretches of time. Without breaks, you'd just see two exhausted athletes clinging to each other, and it would be a very boring product overall. So despite all the passionate debates, the reality is that the ODS of rounds being removed from the unified rules of MMA are pretty much non-existent. The UFC has built its identity and entertainment model around the current system, and they are not going to change that anytime soon. Now, moving on to the second news. Dana White has finally provided a small but important update on Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena. Earlier this week, Dana made a big announcement on Tuesday, revealing 3 huge title fights that will take place across the UFC 320 and UFC 321 cards. Fans were excited and expecting to hear news about every major upcoming matchup, but notably, the highly anticipated welterweight title fight between Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena was not included in that lineup. Naturally, this left a lot of people asking questions. During the live stream, fans began spamming the chat, asking about the status of the fight. Dana was directly asked where things currently stand. From the sounds of it, he's keeping the details under wraps for now, but promised there will be news soon. When pressed for clarity, Dana simply said, "Islam? Yeah, we're working on Islam. We'll have some Islam news soon." That short statement was enough to stir up even more speculation, with fans now wondering what the UFC is planning behind the scenes. Shortly after the live stream ended, well-known MMA journalist Damon Martin added more insight on social media. He revealed that based on what he's hearing, the Makhachev vs. JDM fight is now likely to take place either at Madison Square Garden in November or at the T-Mobile Arena in December. These are 2 of the UFC's biggest venues, and either location would make sense for such a massive fight. MSG in particular has hosted many iconic moments in UFC history, so fans are already imagining what kind of atmosphere this matchup could bring to New York. While nothing is official yet, Khabib himself has already shared his thoughts and made it clear that this fight is no easy task for Islam. In fact, he went as far as to say that Jack Della Maddalena is probably the toughest opponent Islam has ever faced in his career. During his sit-down conversation with Adam Zubair, Khabib broke it down in more detail. He said, "I think Jack is the toughest opponent of Islam's career. If I were preparing Islam for either Ilia or Jack, I'd be more concerned, and I am more concerned about Jack." Coming from Khabib, who knows Islam better than anyone, that statement carries a lot of weight. So from the sounds of things, it's only a matter of time before the fight is made official. Fans just need to wait a little longer for Dana and the UFC to finalize the details. Whether it's in November at Madison Square Garden or in December at the T-Mobile Arena, one thing is certain, this matchup is going to be huge. Moving on to the next news, Ilia Topuria has completely gone off on Max Holloway over the BMF belt. Ilia didn't hold back and made it very clear he doesn't think Max deserves to carry that title anymore. According to Ilia, you simply can't be called the baddest motherfucker if you've already been knocked out in the past. He also called out Max for what he described as running away in the very first 10 seconds of their fight, right after Ilia pointed to the ground to invite a true stand and bang exchange. Ilia took to a live stream with Neckboy earlier this morning to get his message across. During the stream, Neckboy brought up something Max Holloway had supposedly said about Ilia's attitude towards the belt. He said, "How about now?" I think Max Holloway was like, he doesn't like how you're walking around with the BMF belt and stuff. Without hesitation, Ilia shot back, "That's not my problem. I just knocked him out." The discussion didn't stop there. Someone pointed out that people are saying it doesn't really count as a reason for a rematch. But Ilia doubled down on his stance and didn't let up. He repeated firmly, "I just knocked him out. Yeah, like how can you still be the BMF if I knock you out? I literally pointed to the ground in the first 10 seconds. I invited him to fight like a man. And what did he do? He ran away. Then I caught him anyway. Then I put him to sleep. And after all that, he still has the BMF. How's that even possible?" Ilia's words were sharp and delivered with full confidence. He clearly believes Max Holloway is holding a title he no longer deserves, and he's not afraid to call it out publicly. For Ilia, the BMF belt should belong to the one who proves they're the most fearless and the most dangerous inside the octagon, and in his mind, he's the one who fits that description right now. This whole exchange has sparked a lot of debate among fans. Some agree with Ilia, saying the belt is meaningless if someone holding it just got knocked out. Others believe Max Holloway has earned his respect over the years and one loss doesn't erase everything he's done. So what about you? Do you agree with Ilia's take? Should Max Holloway no longer be the BMF if he was just knocked out by Ilia? And if they actually had a rematch, this time at 155, who do you think would win? Would Max make the right adjustments and take back the momentum? Or would Ilia prove once again that he's the real BMF? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Now, moving on to another news, Paulo Costa has made it clear he plans to jump in immediately after the Khamzat Chimaev vs Dricus Du Plessis fight. The tension between Paulo Costa and Khamzat has reached an incredibly personal level. Costa has openly alleged that Khamzat sent inappropriate messages to his wife, something that Khamzat completely denies. According to Khamzat, the situation is entirely different, as he claims it was actually Costa's wife who contacted him first. This back and forth has added even more fuel to an already heated rivalry, making it one of the most talked about potential matchups in the UFC. Khamzat, of course, is scheduled to challenge Dricus Du Plessis for the UFC title at UFC 319, a fight that already has massive implications for the middleweight division. But Costa is not content to simply sit back and watch. In a recent interview with Submission Radio, he revealed his plan to attend the event in person, and he didn't just stop there. He emphasized that he will be ready to confront Khamzat face-to-face in the octagon immediately after the title fight ends. When asked if there was a chance the two might run into each other during fight week, Costa sounded determined and calm, yet very confident. He said, "I want to be there. Just my presence is going to express him. Just my presence alone. I will be there. I will be there. As soon as possible." The way he repeated himself showed how serious he is about making a statement, even without throwing a punch. The interviewer then pressed further, asking, "Well, would you be looking to maybe jump in the octagon after the fight? See if you can make this fight official? Like, will you be ready to do your thing over there at UFC?" Without any hesitation, Costa gave a response filled with conviction. He said, "I am ready right now. I am ready right now." His tone made it clear that he doesn't just want to talk, he's willing to back up every single word with action. This situation has created a lot of anticipation among fans. The idea of Costa stepping into the octagon right after Khamzat's fight with Du Plessis is the kind of dramatic moment the UFC loves. Whether it turns into a heated face-off or an official challenge being made on the spot, it would set the stage for another explosive matchup in the division. So now all eyes are on UFC 319, not just for the title fight itself, but also to see if Paulo Costa actually makes his move. Will he confront Khamzat in the cage and force the UFC to book this grudge match? We'll have to wait and see. Moving on to yet another news, Israel Adesanya has made his official prediction for one of the biggest and most highly anticipated upcoming matchups, Jack Della Maddalena versus Islam Makhachev. This fight is generating massive buzz all across the MMA world because it's the classic striker versus grappler showdown at the very highest level. On one side you have Islam, known for his relentless wrestling, crushing top control and the ability to neutralize even elite strikers. On the other you have Jack Della Maddalena, who brings sharp, precise striking, incredible composure under pressure, and a calm but deadly presence inside the cage. Fans are completely split down the middle. Some believe Islam's grappling will once again dominate as it has so many others, while others think Jack's clean boxing, slick movement, and unshakable demeanor will be the key to pulling off the upset. In a recent video on his YouTube channel, former UFC middleweight champion Israel Adesanya gave his honest take on the fight, and his opinion surprised a lot of people. Instead of siding with the dominant champion, Adesanya leaned toward Jack Della Maddalena. He didn't hesitate to say he believes Jack will beat Islam. He took time to explain why he feels Jack's style presents a very unique danger that Islam might not have faced before. But yeah, Adesanya said, "This fighting Ben Vickers said he's going to knock him out, and I believe him. I honestly believe him, because I just think Islam is not going to be able to handle him on the scrambles or when he gets back up. He's gonna Della is just so stoic, and he just, like you said, focuses on his own game." Adesanya made it clear that what separates Jack from many other opponents is his ability to stay calm no matter what's happening. He doesn't get drawn into his opponent's pace, he doesn't panic when pressured, and he doesn't allow the moment to overwhelm him. Instead, he trusts his skill set and remains disciplined from start to finish. According to Adesanya, that kind of composure is exactly what you need when facing someone like Islam Makhachev, who thrives on mentally overwhelming opponents before breaking them physically. And when he does that, Adesanya continued, "I really think he's going to get him, and I can't wait till that happens. And wherever it is, I'ma be there." His excitement was obvious, showing just how much he's looking forward to witnessing this clash firsthand. Whether it ends up taking place in New York, Las Vegas, or anywhere else the UFC decides to host such a massive fight. This prediction has stirred a lot of debate among fans and analysts. Coming from a former champion who's widely respected for his high fight IQ and ability to read styles, Adesanya's words carry serious weight. Some see it as a bold call against one of the most dominant champions in recent UFC history, while others think it's a realistic and calculated assessment of Jack Della Maddalena's growing skill set and confidence. So now the big question remains, will Jack Della Maddalena really be the man to finally stop Islam Makhachev's reign? Or will Islam once again prove why he's considered one of the most complete and unstoppable fighters in the game today? One thing is absolutely certain, Adesanya will be watching closely, and so will the entire MMA world. Moving on to another news, Ilia Topuria has made it very clear that he is not interested in an Arman Tsarukyan fight. This came as a bit of a surprise to many fans, especially since Tsarukyan's name didn't even come up in any of Ilia's recent callouts. For someone who's been on a hot streak and constantly in the headlines, you would think Arman would at least be on his radar, but not only did Ilia avoid mentioning him, he later went off on Tsarukyan for pulling out of his scheduled fight with Islam Makhachev due to injury. Ilia didn't hold back his frustration and disbelief when he addressed the situation. He said, "First of all, WHO gives a shit about him. It's kinda weird, dude, but if you pull out a day before, you gotta fight someone else. Like, I was at that fight too, and I was so pumped for that fight. And then, the day before, he pulled out and everyone's like, bro, for no reason. For no reason." Ilia questioned whether there was even a legitimate excuse for withdrawing so close to the fight. He continued, "If you really have a serious reason, I don't know, something that could happen, like if you break your hand or something like that, okay, maybe. But I would go even like that, I inside the octagon. I would still show up, that's the difference." His comments clearly implied that he believes Tsarukyan lacks the same warrior mentality he prides himself on. This has stirred even more drama in an already chaotic MMA news cycle. Topuria's words come after weeks of heated exchanges with Max Holloway over the BMF belt, and now he's taking verbal shots at Arman too. It seems Ilia is determined to make enemies and build rivalries everywhere he goes, keeping his name front and center in the headlines. Fans are now left wondering if this is genuine dislike or simply Ilia's way of creating buzz for future big money fights. So there you have it, lots of drama, tension, and heat in the MMA world right now. Khabib's controversial rule change idea shook up the entire community with mixed reactions. Dana White is teasing big news for Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena, leaving fans eager for confirmation. Ilia Topuria is on a verbal warpath, attacking both Max Holloway and Arman Tsarukyan. Paulo Costa is ready to confront Kamaru Usman in dramatic fashion after UFC, and Israel Adesanya has already picked sides, backing Jack Della Maddalena in what could be one of the most exciting fights in recent memory. What do you think about all these stories? Which one feels the most explosive? Is it the potential rule change that could alter MMA forever? Is it the bad blood between Costa and Kamaru? Or is it the rising rivalries involving Ilia Topuria? Either way, it's shaping up to be an insane time for fight fans. Stay tuned, because the MMA world never stops delivering drama and tension and unforgettable moments.